I said, Larry, I have to borrow the car. I said, Peter, where are you going? He said, well, Larry, I'm going to an audition. Oh, another one. Yeah, you're going to be a truck. He said, you're going to be a truck. I said, yeah. He said, oh, what does a truck sound like? I said, no, well, he's going to be a hero truck. And he went with a smile, and he went, well, Peter, if you're going to be a hero, be a real hero. His voice just went into this barrel, and his face just became straight, and he said, don't be a Hollywood hero. If you're going to be a hero, be a real hero. Don't go yelling and pretending you're tough. Here's a Marine talking, a Bronze Star with V from Vietnam. Became a captain after his lieutenant tenure, and then his face just kind of said to me, Peter, be strong enough to be gentle. And he just gave me that whole sense of what Optimus Prime was going to be right then and there. I went to the audition, and the material was there. I saw illustrations of what Optimus Prime was. It was a truck, and it transformed into this body, and then back into that Kenwood, and with the tractor trailer, you know. So I was saying, okay, this is a huge character. He's big, and he's strong, and all that stuff. And I said, kids are gonna love this. You know? So I read the script, and I could have just been, these could have been the words. The words were, my name is Optimus Prime from the planet Cybertron. It just flowed out of me, and I could very well have said, my name is Larry Cullen, United States Marine Corps, you know. But that's the voice that came out of me, and it was Larry, and those distinctive words that applied to every script that we did was be strong enough to be gentle. And that's carried me all the way through since 1984. Until 1986 when they, you're out of here, Cullen, you're out of here.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I mean, for some people, I mean, especially myself, you know, 1986, we're talking, I'm a 6 and 7 year old boy sitting at home watching these, and the death of Optimus Prime is the first, I know for me and maybe for some others, it really was the first instance of that for some young people, and it's a memory that sticks with us when we remember how emotional we got at the death of Optimus. What was your initial impression of that? I mean, obviously, I don't know if you would be happy that they killed off a character that you were portraying.
Well, you know, there was a lot of confusion from my end, because I'm looking at the script and the movie with Frank Welker, and Frank and I are good friends, you know, and we're sitting next to each other, and I get to the page, whatever it was on, and I said, Frank, what page are you on? He said, I'm on page 17, I'm getting whacked. I mean, this is it. I said, what do you mean? I've got a death scene here. I'm doing a death scene. And he's not coming back. So I felt like hell. I mean, it was really pretty sick feeling. I said, no, inside, you know, you take it on yourself and you say, what did I do? What did I do wrong? I mean, who did I piss off? What the heck, you know? it was a rotten feeling. And I didn't bother with it, you know, I just said, that's it, it's over with. You get on with your life, you know, I left that, just went on to the other jobs, put it out of my mind until they called me to do the feature film years and years later. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, I believe it was, if my math is correct, maybe a good 20 years between the time the animated series had ended and the live action
Yeah,
film
kind of like that.
had come around. What was your reaction when you found out that they wanted you back to portray?
Well, I had to audition.
Oh, did you? You actually had to audition for the role of Optimus Prime?
I had to audition for the character I created. It's so strange. Well, Hollywood's Hollywood.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. That you would have to audition for a character that you brought to life.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, again, it had been 20 years, but thankfully, I know I'm sure other people would agree with me. You got the job, and you came back and you got to portray that character.
Yeah, I felt really nervous about it too. I didn't have that old confidence I used to have when I was doing the series with the guys. You know, we had a great time. It was always fun. You know, we always had something going on in the booth. You know, where we recorded. And of course, Frank Welker, he would always supply something strange, surprisingly funny, always. And if you were reading a line and you'd hear like a faucet dripping, I can't do it the way he does it, but you go. That producer, director would be saying, "Can we get some order back in there? Can we get going? Can we do that line again? Let's see, this is line 54, take 3." Or you do an electric motor or an elevator from behind the wall. We had so much fun right now.
Back then in the 80s when you guys were recording the series as opposed to, you know, what they do now where you are usually alone in a studio. Back then in the 80s, were there many of you in the booth at the same time?
Yeah, there'd be probably about 12 of us.
All recording together?
We'd all be in a line, and then we'd be looking straight towards the glass barrier between us with the producer, director, other people sat listening to our madness.
I think that's where a lot of the magic is lost nowadays sometimes, is because it is an individual performance now where you listen to the recording of somebody else and kind of interact with that. But with having everybody in the room together, it's very easy to feed off of one another to bring the characters more to life.
I don't think that's changed very much. I think we still, although I haven't done one for a while, like movies, I worked alone. You know, I would work with Michael Bay, and in this last one, the Rise of the Beast. This is with Stephen Keppel, and he's a fantastic young director that I just got along with so well. What a brain! You're gonna like this movie, folks.
I'm excited. I know you can't talk too much about it because the movie hasn't released yet, but I'm actually excited. I'm getting to go to a screening of it on Monday, so I'm going to be seeing it within the next 2 days. So I'm really excited about that.
This Monday?
This coming Monday, I'm going
That's
to
the premiere. I mean, that's the. Oh, you are?
Yeah, I get to see it about a little less than a week early. So
I'm going to it too, but it's in New York.
Oh, now mine's here in Philly.
Oh.
Yeah, so mine's in town.
Mine's in New York.
Do you want to switch?
Yeah.
No. Okay. No, I wouldn't either. If anybody in the audience does have questions for Peter, we're going to try and get through a couple of them. I don't know how many we're going to get through as we go through, but before we get to that, you know, over the years there have been different versions and iterations of Transformers in which you've replaced Optimus, obviously. And usually there are kind of variations of the series itself. Are there any dominant traits of Optimus that you always make sure, with the exception of obviously leadership and such, that you want to make sure these are traits you want to make sure you carry over to the next iteration for the next project of Transformers?
Well, it all depends on what's written in front of me. You know, I don't have much control over what to say, and sometimes I have to say things that I don't want to say, and I've only had that a couple of times that I lost. There was one line in a movie where I said, "I'll kill them all." You know, that's not good. Yeah. But I was forced to say it, and under the circumstances, I think it may have raised a few eyebrows, but in the long run, it was understood that it was a very sick crime. He had a bad cold. Oh, goodness.
All right, let's see if maybe we can get in a couple of these questions. Over here, your name and your question.
My name is Kyle, and huge Transformers fan. But you also, I believe, did the opening narration for another cartoon I was very, very fond of, Voltron. Do you recall that?
Defender of the universe. Guys, you remember all of this? Wow. Commander Hawkins.
So how did that come about? And do you remember the narration? Could you give us a little?
How did the job of narrating for Voltron come about? And do you remember what the narration was?
No. I'm old, I forget. Jeez, I don't really. I'm quite surprised that you would bring that up, considering this is an Optimus Prime moment. Voltron, defender of the universe. Well, that's
love all your roles.
right over my head, half that stuff. I didn't understand what it was all about anyway. Well, I never got to see the whole show, and I only read my lines. And who knows what that was all about.
Well, then, if you want an Optimus Prime question, so after you died in the movie, you actually did come back in the third season. They had Dark Awakening and then the Return of Optimus Prime. How did it feel when you got that call, "We need you back"?
The movie?
After the animated movie, you came back in season 3.
For 2 shows.
Yeah, for a few episodes.
Yeah. So, well, I learned years and years later that I was brought back because mothers in America and Canada were so upset by the activities of their children, hiding under the bed, hiding in closets. They wouldn't come out. They would be so afraid it affected them. And I was stunned to hear that. I had no idea that there were a lot of children that were affected by that. And so I did have to come back for those few shows to appease that whole thing, which I thought was rather strange, That's Hollywood. You never get your hopes up on anything because you never know how long something's going to last. And you just work your craft and you work it hard. Never give up, never give in, just plod along. And sometimes you get lucky. And I got lucky because years later I discovered that a lot of kids had grown up and they were talking about a feature film and they started getting on the internet, of course. And they started talking about me, and I wasn't paying particular attention to the internet because I didn't have a computer. I put all that stuff about, But anyway, I still have a dial phone for crying out loud. Hello? Yeah, hi. It's Peter. Telephone. The internet had so much going for it, for my inclusion into that, that they eventually said, okay, let's get it. Okay, or whatever they do. And anyway, I went to the audition Michael Bay, and I said, I was very nervous. I mean, I was really nervous. And I was also, they were auditioning for Ironhide. And so there was a girl, there's a scene, there was a girl reading Ironhide and then Optimus Prime. Michael Bay sitting here, and the girl is sitting here, somebody sitting there, I'm sitting here. And she started reading Ironhide. Whatever the line was, and I said, here, let me do that. Oh, come on, Prime, let's kick some butt.
And whatever the line is.
Not now, Ironhide. Relax, cool it. We'll get them on our own time. Oh, I want to do it now, Prime, no. And Michael Bay sitting there like, did I hear that? Okay, that's enough. That's enough. And the girl was sitting there going, she's looking straight up at me like that. It was bizarre. I was nervous. Who knows? You just give it your shot, give it everything you have. And you walk away, you're getting into your car, and you're saying, what am I doing here? I just auditioned for Ironhide and Optimus Prime.
That had to get you the job, though. Just portraying both of those for Michael Bay and just seeing a drop jaw.
Well, I don't know if he dropped. I made that up. Sorry, Michael.
I buy it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
All right, thanks for your question. Let's go over to this side here. What's your name and your question?
Hi, my name is Benson. First of all, I want to say thank you, Mr. Cullen, for coming out to visit us here in Philly.
Thank you.
I've been a huge G1 Optimus Prime fan since I was a kid. I really enjoyed the mobility character and how strong he was. And then once they went ahead and took him out of his Devil Transformers. But then, when they went ahead and came out with the series Transformers Prime, and then you voiced the character, got a chance to voice the character again, that was the time that felt like, oh, I wish this is how it went originally when they did the character.
Did you enjoy that show?
Absolutely.
I had fun doing it. I mean, we don't, the original show, we didn't have many girls in. And this one, we had a few girls. It was kind of fun, And they were great people. I mean, really wonderful people. And to be, teamed up with Frank Welker again, it was just heaven. I'm sorry it went away. I guess, that's Hollywood. Yeah.
My two questions are, what was your experience doing the G1 Optimus Prime versus the Transformers Prime version of him? Like, how you approached the character? And what was your experience also like versus when you were doing G1 Optimus Prime, like doing the recordings and everything versus how they did it in Transformers Prime? It kind of felt like a character. Like, it was great for me when I was a kid, and then Transformers Prime, you felt like the character grew up also for like an older audience as well as like a younger audience as well too.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. Basically, I think Prime is Prime. The essential qualities of Prime remain. They're so embedded in my brother Larry, and of course the writers and the scenario, whatever it may be, always seem to remain true. And if it wasn't true, I would try to make it true. But I don't remember having any difficulty or memories of any of those instances where it was a problem or a dilemma of any kind. It was always natural. Prime seemed to be the epitome of a great hero, and those traits are inherently strong and forever. They stay with the power of good leadership. I was very lucky, very lucky.
Optimus has always been Optimus, no matter what project that he has been a part of, whatever Transformers whatever iteration of Transformers we get, the Optimus has always been the leader that we've always loved, and we ourselves would follow if we were in a situation to do so. So the characteristics have always carried. But thanks for your question.
All right, thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, let's go over to this side here. What's your name and your question?
Hello, Mr. Cullen. My name's Greg. As you mentioned earlier, you also voiced one of my favorite Autobots, Ironhide. I was wondering, which is the more difficult role to play, Optimus or Ironhide?
Oh, no, well, you know what? During production back in those days, Frank would often have to talk to himself, you know, as another character. I did on several occasions, and it was fun. It was really fun. I gave you a little taste of that earlier. Well, we were a little more polished back in those days. Because, yeah, a script in front of you, you didn't have to ad-lib it. No, but it's interesting. Yeah, a lot of us had to do kind of, you know, scenes with a conversation between themselves. It's kind of fun. You end up having to do it over, though, you know, but you try.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll switch back over to the side. Your name and your question.
Hi, Peter. My name is Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
I grew up with you since I was about 6, 7 years old, and I made it a point for me and my brother that we're not miss a single episode of Transformers. And even with Transformers Prime, I have my twin nephews watching that, and they really enjoy the show. My question is, with every script that you've read and performed, which script do you believe was the most challenging script that you performed?
So of any script that you got, whether it be of any G1, Transformers Prime, which script do you think was maybe the most challenging to perform?
Well, that's a good question. You know, oddly enough, every script that you get is, you know, is a challenge. But some scripts aren't as good as others, and you don't have any control over that. And some have more action than others, and some have more messages than others.
So often you've inspired at least one generation to dream and imagine about the future and about how technology could beneficially interact with humanity and so on. And I'm thinking like the world has changed so much since you first started. So what excites you most about the way the world is changing, especially with respect to technology, and what also concerns you?
That's a very detailed question.
Of course, I mean, I'd ask it Optimus Prime himself.
You're doing that on purpose. You just want to lay me out there. Okay. The simple version of that question comes down to what?
So, you know, what makes you most excited about the future? What are you most optimistic about? With regards to, you know...
In regards to anything, or like specifically technology, or?
Anything really, like...
So basically just what gets you excited for the future? Like what about the future gets you, like, are you interested in, or to maybe learn more about? Just something that gets you excited.
Well, I got a call from the executive producer of Paramount Pictures, and talked to me on the phone. He said, Peter, I just want to tell you that we're going to be doing more features, and I want you to know that you are going to be Optimus Prime for as long as you want to be Optimus Prime. I was very happy about that myself. But then if there was a flip side to the coin, he said there was the animated shows that we're going to do. We're going to be using a younger Prime, and which makes sense, you know. He said, but the features, you are going to be on it. But the TV series and all that other stuff, whatever they call them, words are fancy words for, doesn't cost a dime. We get these things done for nothing, you know, we just have to put it on screen, put them over here, you know, get the writers to strike, do all that stuff. So, we'll be doing animated using a younger person. That makes perfect sense to me, you know, here's a guy that's gonna be training, you know, the way I trained you guys when you were 6 years old. You know, that's a long time ago. And I can understand that. But see what comes with me. I look forward positively, and I look forward to whatever they're going to do in the future. I live for the present. And I'm going to tell you this honestly, because I love you guys and girls. You know. Way about you guys, and I hope that I'm around for a long time and to do more features, and because I have it in me, and I don't want to not do it. I really want to do it, so it gives me a real incentive to be with you guys. You warm my heart, and I think you're the greatest group of people. Everywhere we go, I mean, you're just the same. You're just wonderful people. And I love you for that.
We're coming to the end, so I apologize for anybody whose question didn't get asked, but I really, personally, I don't really think we could have ended this panel any better than that. Before we let you go, I just want to tell you, and I'm sure I speak for everybody in this room, you have been and will always be Optimus Prime to each and every one of us. And before we get out of here and I let you say goodbye, any way we can just wrap this panel up with an Autobots rollout.
Hold on to your dreams. The future is built on dreams. One shall stand, one shall fall. Peace is the right of all sentient beings. Autobots, transform and roll out!